time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnett Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here. No Barnett Bain today. He is out. He's actually at a film festival in Sedona because his film, he has a documentary about Rwanda that is in the festival. Beautiful film. Should be out shortly. Don't remember the final title they have of it, but we'll let you know all of that, of course. We've got folks in the studio, though, sitting in.
Yeah.
So let's welcome to the show Preston Smiles, Alexi Panos. They are a global change-making couple.
Yes.
Partners in shine and doing the consciousness thing. Of course, they're friends of mine and the show. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Gracias, yeah. Gracias, Madre.
Yeah, we've been hanging out a bit together.
We have.
Yeah, so
like
it's
a reunion of sorts.
Yeah, well, it's just a continuation. I don't even know if we have to reunion. We have to have some space of not hanging out for there to be a reunion.
For there to be a reunion, exactly.
We had 2 days.
Well, 2 days, guys. Sorry, that's it. So yeah, we're coming out of a little work. We did some work together. Gabriel Nosovic's master's course, which is a crazy experience. I guess we can probably start there.
Yeah.
Thoughts, impressions?
Thoughts, impressions. It was powerful. It was amazing. Whenever anyone chooses, and I'll just speak for me, whenever I choose to jump in the fire and take a look at how I've been showing up and who I'm being, I always create more space for magic to happen. So right now I'm feeling very high, but it's a natural high.
I've been dreaming like mad. Like the dreams have been crazy. All right, tell me what you got.
Yeah, well, so I've just been in this really spacious place as well because, like Preston was saying, and I'm sure you know, when you go and you dig into those areas of yourself that are otherwise really scary to look at,
sure,
you really do create some space for some magic to happen. So I've been having living dreams where I've actually been in the car and been experiencing life in such a full-on way where I'm seeing the world as nature. I'm seeing the disconnection from Earth. I'm having crazy vivid dreams. I didn't even tell you last night I had this dream of all this like chaos happening in our backyard, and it was like all these cats were in our backyard and somebody was swinging from the electrical wire. And then we came out, it was like a circus, and we came out and we just like stood there and we were with the chaos, which is kind of like this thing called Rondori that we all know about.
Yeah.
And we're with the chaos, and it all just fell and dissipated and disappeared, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the relationship with chaos. It's an interesting part of the puzzle for me is how I relate to chaos. Barnett likes to say if you can relate to it versus react to it, it can shift from terrifying chaos to beautiful chaos and actually be the source of creativity. That's where creativity comes from the chaos, right? The other piece of the puzzle, from my perspective, is this element of risk. Yeah. Am I willing to risk who I've been in service to who I might become, right?
Yeah, that's everything.
It is.
It's everything.
It is, and yet, you know, it's so interesting how we organize back to the known, organize back to comfort. You know, we try to make sense of something. What I loved about the master's course, for me, is what am I experiencing? I mean, so much of it is being able to really experience my experience and then communicate that in a way so that other people get it, and then be okay with how they get it or whatever, not trying to manipulate, control, but really trying to relate to not just others, but also what's showing up in my experience, because there's a level of ownership in this course where you're really owning that I'm creating what's showing up, at least in the way I perceive it, at least in the way I experience it. So, you know, it's a next level. And then, of course, as you said, something, or maybe it was something, Preston, you said, about then it sort of, everything becomes more vivid. You know, when I put myself into the sort of pressure cooker.
Absolutely. You know, I was reading the other day something, I don't remember what book this is from, but it said, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. And that is what that course, my life, has been, and it was a beautiful reminder to not go in to fix anything, because, you know, when we're trying to fix anything, we're in resistance to it, and therefore place it in our reality even more.
Totally.
So just being with the experience of being a human has been awesome. And for me, it's that thing where it's like, I almost get a break, because I realize even more in that I'm never going to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter how awesome I think I am, I'm going to get awesomer.
Yeah.
And no matter how crappy I am, I'm going to be crappier. Like, it's all of it's exponential. It's we're infinite possibilities happening in the now.
Okay, so something that Gabrielle said that I thought was really powerful.
Yes.
When he was talking about intention, right? Because we're all sort of the mind that when we become conscious, we begin to become more intentional, and we become more of the chooser in our own experience, at least how we want to experience things. And what he said was really interesting. He said, the only intention from the perspective he was speaking from is to clear. Because if you're doing intention with an agenda, right, it becomes a doing, and it becomes wrapped up in the, I'm going to call it small story, but the consensus reality story of who I ought to be and so forth and so on. So unconsciously what's happened is that's taking over. So the only intention from Gabrielle's perspective in that moment was to clear.
Yes.
And then let arise whatever arises organically, as opposed to trying to manipulate everything.
Yeah, well, that's what mastery is, right?
That's what mastery is.
Yeah, mastery is just being with the practice of whatever you're being with.
Yeah.
Period. Fully and just fully self-expressed in whatever that is. And I think, humanity has kind of fallen asleep a bit at the wheel, where in life we've just been going through the motions. We've become mechanicalized about our lives versus actually being awake and present to whatever it is we're doing. If it's the dishes like Preston mentioned in class, or chopping wood or carrying water, whatever it is, just be with that experience fully.
I love that. And I'm going to layer one piece in.
Yeah.
That one of the principles of mastery is there is no society. So the minute we say that, we're out. It's me. It's only me.
Right. There's no separation.
It's unnerving, because I love to personally kind of point and say, well, out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Those folks out there. I don't want to say it's me. I'm creating it, because that just throws off my sense of self as I've constructed it.
Yeah. I may be misquoting, because everything comes from the gigantic pool of everybody.
Yep.
But I believe I heard Beckwith say, it's not your job to make it happen, it's your job to welcome it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is the encapsulation of that, is just becoming the space for whatever is wanting to be birthed through us, And for instance, both of us are reading The War of Art right now.
Oh, I love that book.
Stephen Preston.
Yeah.
He said something the other day that was not everybody can have what they want, or not everybody's here to, it was unnerving for me at one point, because I'm like, whoa, that is powerful. What a thing to say, because everything in the arena of, and just in life and period, is you dream it and you can have it.
Right.
You just work hard, you bootstrap it, and you can be the president of the United States. And what he's basically saying is, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Well, whether you can or can't actually at some point becomes irrelevant, right? Because Barnett talks about this, and we have talked about on the show, is the second story, which we call the triumph story.
Yeah.
And that's where we win. We get the girl, we win, we lose the weight, and people love their triumph story. We as a culture are enamored with it, right?
Yes.
Every made-for-TV movie is a triumph. Someone's got adversity and they overcome it. It's the hero's journey, right?
Sure.
And this idea of the post-heroic, where it doesn't, it's the transcend and include place, where that's part of the puzzle. And there's a layer after that. So I don't think sort of the gist of the conversation we're having right now is something one starts with, right? I mean, or actually, let me take that back. We probably do start with it, right? As babies and as children, we're infinite possibility, and it's just, it's a free-flowing experience. And then it isn't. And the idea from the perspective we're speaking about is kind of I don't know if it's a getting back to or an evolving to, where we can actually handle life more as a free-flowing experience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming home to the self, the true self. Yeah. I think when we get rid of all of the notions of can, can't, would, should, could, all of that disappears and dissipates into highest self.
But good luck getting rid of them.
It's hard, man. The ego's got a strap hold on you.
Yeah, and I don't know if we really even get rid of them. I think, for me, integrity, right? Integrated, so that they come along too.
That's it.
Yeah, because I'm hearing from those voices all the time. So to pretend like they're not there, or to want to get rid of them, for for me feels like no, I don't want to do that. It's
that's resistance.
That's
resistance. Then we're back in the fixing game, and that's not going to work out.
Everyone's like, how do you get rid of fear? It's like you be with it. You be with it powerfully.
Exactly.
You don't get rid of it.
Well, and the idea of how I want to be with the fear.
Right.
Yeah, that becomes the chooser piece. But it's interesting because then Gabrielle would say, but now you're in too much thinking and
you're conceptualizing it.
Conceptualizing, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Though in moments, the choice to be with the fear in a particular way has really served me. So I don't know. I'll scratch my head about that for a minute. Because again, the tripcord of all of it is the truth that we come to in a moment. If we hang on too tightly and try to put it in a bottle, it becomes brittle and it needs to break down.
Yeah.
Well, it's the minute we put words to an experience, the experience is no longer the experience.
Yes.
It's conceptualized.
Yeah.
So Osho has a great quote. I forget what it is. It's live an experience without words because words basically make it brittle.
Yeah, that's not helpful for radio, but I hear you.
Yeah, it's like,
hey,
let's be silent.
What are we doing here?
There's no reason to talk ever
We're really
again.
having an amazing experience, guys.
What do we want to talk about? We kind of come in saying we might want to talk about relationships today.
Yeah, that's
you guys
juicy. That's good.
You guys are a relationship.
Yeah.
Walking, breathing.
We are.
Yeah. I love partners in shine. Yeah, we are as a three person experience. Conscious coupling, the idea of really coming together over a shared sense of some great and glorious possibility that isn't necessarily something we can see, right? I think something that I'll start the conversation by a conversation we've all had, that the current paradigm, what we see, or at least what I see, in not to diminish my parents and their relationship, just to say that I don't want it. I want my own version of something that I haven't yet 100% discovered. Have kind of like little signposts that I go, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. But I haven't found what the more real relationship for me is yet. I just have inklings of it, right? And my sense of you guys is that's what you're embarking on, like the societally presented version of here's how you couple and here's how you happily ever after in the sort of fantasy way is too brittle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're breaking that paradigm down.
For sure.
We are two human beings that have a massive spiritual connection to who we are. And we recognize that our humanness is what makes us so amazing. So being with that humanness is being with the fear, it's being with the disagreements, it's being with everything. It's being with the possibilities as well. But, this whole idea of this fairy tale relationship and, everything's perfect. And when it's not perfect, you should divorce them and do that. It's like,
go find Mr. Right.
Exactly. Like, where?
Good luck
let me know. Let me know when you find the perfect person.
Well, that's the problem is people do, and then they tell the story they found it, and then you're like, and everyone buys it, and then it sells magazines or it sells, and you go, is that it?
I think what's the perfect person is loving yourself first. I mean,
huge.
Let's get that, because so many people are looking to complete themselves, they're looking to fill a void, they're looking to fill a hole. But when we fill that hole ourselves and we become love ourselves, then we can stand in the possibility of loving another fully.
Yeah.
Because
Beautiful.
until then, we're looking at the other person going, love me, please. Accept me, please.
And that comes along too, right? Because my own sort of desperate frailness and neediness, the joy in my relationship is my wife, for the most part, on a good day, lots of qualifiers here, accepts that. Yeah. It's a little messy being human, right?
Yeah. It's fun.
There you go.
That's the best way I can describe.
That's an organizing principle.
Yeah, it's fun, and even the ugly stuff, which is, I'm using that word, but I wouldn't. It's not ugly. It's perfect and it's awesome, and that stuff I'm just as grateful for in our relationship as the flowers in the park and us skipping and
Yeah, we skip really well
on
together.
the beach in Australia or whatever that stuff is. All of it. It's not. We as a society, and I'll say I have lived a lot of my life from half empty, half full.
Yeah.
Right.
And the place that we're operating from right now is just being grateful that we have a cup.
Yeah.
And like
Beautiful.
the dance of that, is the magic. It's experiencing our experience, knowing that there is no end to it because there is no other. And that everything that is showing up, relationships are the most transformative. I've taken 50 million classes in transformation. Yeah. Being with this powerhouse woman knocks all those down in some sense, because it's just like, oh, there I am. Yeah. I can't hide.
Mirrors are everywhere. Well, and that's what I love too. Relationships are transformation, and transformation is no endpoint. It's transformation. It's constantly
becoming.
Yeah, it's a becoming. And I know for myself, a big pattern that I had was the minute it got bad, go, run, out. This doesn't work for me. Like
fly girl.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, please. I was the best at that. Yeah. So for me, it's been a real practice in being with what is and recognizing the beauty in what is, because I've now switched my understanding and my viewpoint of our disagreements as, okay, we're going to get under this, and there's going to be another layer here that's going to unfold. And it always does.
It always
does. Like the day after an argument, we are like so tight. We are so bonded. We know each other on a deeper level. We have this better understanding of each other that we would have never had we not have gone there.
Yeah, so that's the richness. In the early 80s, John Lee wrote a book called The Flying Boy. Okay. And it was about this idea of, for me, it's self-abandoning, right? Because I don't know how to stay in, well, I do now because I've been in a very long 15-year relationship with my current wife. But prior to that, with my first wife and those other relationships, when the part of me that I didn't like came out or got reflected, then I would run from it, versus, having a big enough sense of the possibility and a big enough consciousness to hold it.
Absolutely.
Because that's where the gooey good stuff is can we really be okay with the parts we previously determined were unacceptable?
Yeah. Are we willing to risk what you said, who we were for who we know what we can be, right? Like we
don't even know it, because that's the piece too. Is I want to know. I want to know the outcome. Right. I want my triumph story. I want to know I'm going to win. Well, it's not a winning game.
That's it. Taking win-lose off the table and just risking enough to know that I get to go deeper.
That's it.
And that's so beautiful.
Once just circling this back to...
You got to do it quick because we're going to take a break. Okay. But we'll come back to it.
Okay, we'll come back to it.
So do you want to set it up? What we're going to come back to?
Masters, experiencing our experience. We'll talk about it. Just
come back.
See you on the other side.
More. Stay with us because we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and Preston will tell us what the heck he's thinking, and we'll go into it. All right, stay with us.
Welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness, thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Alexi Panos and Preston Smiles. No Barnett Bain, he's out today. Hey, I want to start with a bit of gratitude for our sponsors. We want to just give a shout out to the folks at Hampton Roads Publishing and Hierophant Publishing, publishers of books by some amazing authors, Neil Donald Walsh, Tommy Ruiz, Byron Katie, and so many others. They sponsor the show, as well as Insight Events USA, that produces conscious events in the same sort of field of mind, body, and spirit. So we are grateful they sponsor the show, and it allows us to do what we do. So, Preston.
Yeah.
You're on the spot. What the heck were you going to say?
What was I...
Make it good, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No pressure.
Now it's got to be good. I was going to point out that for me, and this may be the case for you guys as well, but maybe not. And Gabrielle spoke about it in the Masters, but I already had been with that experience before, that prior to meeting Alexi, I had this experience of basically attracting the same type of girl over and over again. Right? And when I faced that within myself, it actually came in the form of a friend gave me an analogy. He was like, if one person calls you a duck, no big deal. Right. If 19 people call you a duck, you might want to start quacking. And, I got into that space where I was like, okay, I need to have what I'm having. I need to be with what I'm creating, because none of these girls are actually what I'm envisioning for myself, but I keep, it just keeps showing up. And when I was with that, I created a new space, a new opportunity, and now, I've opened myself up to what I truly, in my heart of hearts, was calling in. So relationship-wise, that was one of the things I wanted to just point out is now. And then the beautiful part about that whole thing is now there's a whole nother quacking that I get to be with, 'cause it's exponential. It'll never stop.
Yeah, your quacking comes too.
Yeah.
And when you're cracking, if the partnership is authentic, it gets reflected and called out. I don't always enjoy those moments personally.
I was going to say, they definitely get called out with us. That's the thing too about being in a conscious couple. It's we're both doing the work on ourselves, right? And then when the other person shows up, you don't get away with manipulation anymore. You don't get away with like the BS of the past. I used to be like really so good at manipulating things.
Yeah, of course.
Where I could get my way. And now he calls me on it all the time, and it's so frustrating, but it's so amazing because that's why I called him in to transform.
Totally. My wife's integrity is a gift to me, even when it calls me out. Especially when it calls me out, actually. Because that's when I get to cop to it. And again, on the other side of copping to it is the relationship is big enough to hold my fragmented, trailing bit parts of myself.
Yeah.
I, and possibly the we, have operated from not wanting to get in trouble.
Oh, huge. With women? You kidding me? The mommy?
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I want to be perfect all the time.
Don't make me wrong.
And when something is wrong, then I take it so personal.
Right.
And then that just creates a whole nother level of friction in itself. But like the root of that is the thing that I've been, being with. Like, I see it. That you have an idea about how life is supposed to be. You have a story that you're supposed to be perfect all the time.
Right.
And that story is creating dis-ease in my, emotional body, physical body, etc.
It just doesn't feel good at some point.
No.
It's too rigid. It's too narrow.
Yeah, and then that also creates a space. Like the story I have, the story he has, we're showing up with a context. We're showing up with a space that the other person has no freedom in because we're already on defense. Don't make me wrong. Don't make me wrong. And so he's going to show up, and no matter what he says to me, I've already got this story going. Don't make me wrong.
Yeah, it's who you're requiring him to be so that you can be right about your story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or who I'm requiring you to be so I feel safe and whatever, Yeah, no, it's a constant consciousness, because I don't know, work sometimes is actually the wrong language too. It doesn't feel like work. I mean, in moments it does, but at the end of the day, the fact that it's an ongoing process, I think part of it is making the process easier. That's actually was one of the big hits that came for me from Masters, is the message kept coming, Freeman, it's easier. Because again, in the sort of, the intention is to clear or surrender or let go, and then watch how things become. That's a huge snapshot for me, because I'm an efforting guy, right?
Yeah.
Even the word work, it has built in my small story definition that it's hard, and I'm over it. Just the idea of a relationship that it's work. The overriding quality of fun. What do you want in your relationship? Fun, fulfilling, gratifying, honoring. That's maybe the space I want to be moving into.
Yeah, and it is fun. Like we've had moments where we look at each other after a long, crazy argument, and then we just laugh because we realize how ridiculous it is. Because at the end of the day, we love each other, and we just want the best for each other, our relationship, and ourselves. So how can we create that for the person we love?
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's the Susan quote as well. If you
Susan Leigh.
Yeah.
Go quote.
Yeah.
It's what's the quote? It's
so you deserve to feel good.
Yes.
And I deserve to feel good. And this doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I love that.
Right, so what can we do to come back to where everyone feels honored and seen and heard and respected and cared about? We've had a conversation recently in our house about respect. A few months back, we had Stuart Emery on the show, and he said something pretty brilliant that I love. He said there's 3 levels of respect. The lowest level is tolerance. The middle level, and tolerance is like, I don't really like you, I don't really whatever, but I'm going to tolerate you, right? It's this really kind of teeth gritting kind of, whatever, I'm tolerating
that person.
And the middle level of respect is a kind of civility, right? I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. I'm being respectful because, good manners is how Stuart expressed it. But the highest level is high regard.
Yeah.
So I'm holding you in high regard.
Yes.
He's so much more generous. And that's what we want more of in our family. My little 11-year-old who's acting like he's 13, 14 right now. High regard. That's the standard we're creating in this family.
I love that. You said a word that I love, though, generous. It's a giving mentality and beingness versus a taking.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be right. I need. It's, what can I give to this? How can I be generous in this? And I love that, because that's been a huge distinction for me.
So, quick story around that. My father, when I was 11, caught me smoking weed. And he pulled me to the side and he said, I want you to take a look at everybody's life who does that. And ask yourself, do you want that for you? And I said, I went to go answer. And he said, no, you don't answer now. I want you to be with that. He's like, and here's something else I want to talk to you about. He said, Preston, you're a leader. And you're such a leader that when everybody's going left, if it doesn't feel good to you, you'll go right. I know that about you, son. And then he left it. So I'm sitting here like, am I getting on punishment? Did I just lose my basketball privileges? Like, what's happening? He just walked away. Like, am I going to get spanked? I don't know what's happening. And he just walked away.
That's beautiful.
That stuck with me
generous.
for my entire life.
Yeah.
He held me high from that point forward. Now, some people know my story, some people don't. My story, whatever that is. But I've had situations where my friends were like, let's go do this. Let's go rob a liquor store.
Right.
And that conversation at 11 popped in at 15.
Yeah.
And I went, nope. And they're like, oh, you going to be a... And I'm like, yeah, I am. Today I am.
Yeah.
And I'll go home and they get arrested.
Yeah.
All my friends got arrested. I'm at home.
Yeah.
And like that, to me, that's that conversation in action. My father held me high.
Yeah.
The dude had his stuff and like, as we all do, but like he did that, like that was magic.
Well, that was a lucid moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the people who flail and sometimes are having the hardest time can be so clear when it's about you, right? When it's about themselves, it's a little more challenging. I mean, that really is what we boil down to. It's kind of what we're threading to in this thing is how do I really take myself on, versus make it what society's doing or put it out there. Yeah. It's that other person. No, it's me.
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, that is what relationships are here to teach us, because I feel like so many of us, including myself, have had the tendency to go, it's your fault, blame. I want to point the finger out here and look at him and pick him apart for all the things he's not doing, the ways he's not showing up. But in actuality, the only reason I can see any of that is because it's showing up in myself.
Totally.
But I'm just not willing to be with it in that moment. So it really is about taking on yourself fully and owning everything, being willing to be responsible, which is another part of this whole mastery conversation.
Dismantling the story that it has to look a certain way. I think dismantling the stories in general, right? You and I, all three of us have talked a little bit, because Jasmine and I created a relationship vision with 28 items that we committed to. First is we play and have fun together. And then we listen openly and honestly without fear of saying the wrong thing, where, so all these ways that we want to embody in relationship with one another. And the story, which is what we started with of who we were as a couple, at the time that we created the vision, the story was coming apart. What's powerful about the vision is it's not a story. You can always organize back to it. When we tell the story of who we are as a couple, that's more of like who we want to be in terms of presenting ourselves, it breaks apart. It's not flexible. It's not pliable. It doesn't allow for, the bends and turns. There's very little about who I was when I met Jasmine that I am today. I mean, there's threads, but I love when Gabrielle was talking about 10 years from now, all of your cells will be different from the cells they were 10 years ago. And your story will be completely different if we allow it to evolve.
Yes.
But I look at so many relationships where they're telling the same story and the story is like so fallen apart, but it's all they've got.
They're holding on to it so tight.
Attached.
It's almost like that's their agreement. We'll tell this story and we'll be this story.
And then when we get home, the story falls apart.
Yeah, well, and the story you made up when you were 25 and you met is not the story when you're 45 or 55 or whatever. And if it is, oopsie daisy.
Yeah, it's the high school quarterback who's still holding on to being a high school quarterback. It's all of that stuff.
I love that.
The idea for me is to be in the practice of not identifying with that or when I can catch it, moving into action immediately. Because then, for me, mastery is a game of practice. Relationships is a game of practice. Life is a game of practice. What am I practicing more? Either I'm practicing victimhood and reaction, or I'm practicing being aware of and consciously choosing. So if I practice this one more, then obviously that's going to show up more in my life. Yeah. Life is perfect no matter how I look at it.
Right.
It's a question of how I want to live, because we all have a due date. So either I go out, in reaction, and my human library, my body catches it all, and cancer and all the other stuff that pops up because of that way of thinking and living, or I recognize it and begin to practice and chip away at that thing, not trying to fix it, but just choosing a different way of having life appear through and as me.
Well, and the idea that let's see what appears.
Yeah.
Versus sticking to the same small story. You know what I think about in this regard? My kids listen to pop music, and so do I, because they're my kids, and I listen to some of the songs I really
Freeman loves Taylor Swift.
Don't make excuses about it. So do I, because it's my kid.
Well, here's what I don't like about it is I feel like it's a high school story of relationship.
Yeah.
And something comes along like Jason Mraz's song about, I don't remember the name of the song is, but Jason Mraz sings this beautiful song about a far more adult experience, you know? Or that piece, the dance piece you and I were talking about the other day that I put up, it's like it's so much more expansive.
Oh, yeah.
Because the high school love song, it can still prick me sort of emotionally. I can kind of get into it, but it doesn't elevate.
Yeah, it's the same story.
It's the same story.
It's the same story. And
so the beauty of both of you is you guys are both like out there creating, and I love that because the creation is a much greater chance I'm going to resonate with it than the small story.
Yeah, well, you know what I think is key in both of our creation, and I'm sure yours as well, is we're not attached to the outcome. We're not attached to it has to look like this. I'm creating, X, Y, and Z, and I have to get this amount of thing. The goal almost becomes obsolete. It really becomes about what are we here to do? And I know just from knowing you and from knowing him so well, we're all in a space of service. Like, what can we contribute? What kind of value can we create? And we're open to however that needs to show up.
Yeah.
Because we get that it's not even about us, it's about the message. It's not about the messenger, about the message. It's really about us being the vessel to carry forth whatever needs to come through.
Well, and built into the way we're operating, there's a natural evolution.
Yeah.
What I see sometimes in sort of our industry, right, personal growth or whatever it's called, human potential, is people find a formula, if you will.
For
and
sure.
Part of me likes the formula, can I get this down to a formula?
Yeah.
And they get their 10 talking points and they repeat it, and I'm like, wow, it's so where's the evolution in it? Where's the growth,
Yeah.
And I get really bored with it. Like at this point, I can kind of see it coming. When someone's in their talking points, I'm like, oh, they've said that before.
Yeah.
I'm bored of myself when I'm in my talking points.
Yeah, we've all been there, right? We've all been able to recognize that in ourselves, and it's the same Taylor Swift love song that you're going to hear on the radio. Turn the channel, it's the same song.
It's the same song.
It's the addict and the drug dealer in the micro and the macro all over our lives. And like people are looking for the quick fix.
Yeah.
Look for the formula. I was just on a podcast yesterday and he was like, "Bud, can you give us 4 tools?"
Right.
And I was like,
no.
Okay. Here.
Quick tips.
Yeah.
What are your quick tips?
Because everyone wants the quick hit. And
How about the slow, not so clear tip?
Right.
Yeah, just
How about
be
the-
what you're being with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How about that, right?
Yeah.
You'd be off the podcast. All right, speaking of off the podcast, we got to pay some bills or we will be off. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages here on Cutting Edge Consciousness.
Welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness, thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
Keep going. All right, we're dancing. Little jig going on here. That's kind of fun. We've never done that.
Yeah, I like
We
it.
have to keep that for Barnett. We were at a party one time with my wife and Barnett and Sandy, and Barnett kept saying, I don't want to dance, I want to dance. And Des and I were dancing, and finally we get him up, and he's like, you guys are so cool when you dance. So Jasmine taught him how to dance Cholo style, because she grew up in East LA.
Yes.
And she did this little slow move, thing. He's been mimicking it. It's hysterical.
Oh, I have to see that.
It's pretty good. Just don't say it's a cholo dance. So yeah, what the heck are we talking about? You know, one of the things I wanted to bring up, because this conversation we've all had, is again, wanting to find form in what we're doing and trying to win. I'll, again, speak personally, though I know for both of you it's an issue. Where I've got success held in these very narrow ways. Mm-hmm. You know, it's about the money, it's about getting the girl, it's about the affirmation that I get culturally, the bigger affirmation. Like, famous is so huge in my kid's psyche. Like, I want to be famous. Like, every kid wants to be famous right now. I'm like, okay, what have we done, you know? So rich, famous, you know, whatever, admired. And when I'm in my consciousness, I want to connect. I want more meaning in my life. I want self-expression. Like, the list is so different that it might result in some of those things is fine, but that's what it's organizing around, those kinds of outcomes, those kinds of, you know, again, I think it's an addiction.
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. I think, you know what it is? I think a lot of us are so used to operating out of ego, and ego's constantly seeking validation, because deep down the ego knows that worthiness is the question for all of us. It's the game we're all playing. Do I feel worthy? Am I worthy of love? And I think the ego wants to come in and say, here, I'll help you feel worthy. I'll give you the car. I'll get you this. I'll get you fame. I'll get you status. I'll get you the woman, the guy. And we get there, and it feels empty because it was never based on any solid foundation in the first place.
Well, and the consensus ego is the hierarchy.
Exactly.
Where we've delineated, you know, so that everyone is in this experience, everyone in the world that I'm seeing, is in this experience of reflecting, where am I on this sort of measuring stick?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Think about it at a party. Most people are like, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, they instantly want to size you up. Like, where are you at in your life?
Oh, you get sized up before they even open their mouth. Like, whether they're going to talk to you or not just got sized up. Like, what does this person do for me? And that's why I'm willing to, you know, entertain them as a, you know, worth my time or something.
Absolutely. But you know, you bring up a great point where you said deep down you want to connect. Your list looks completely different. And I think a lot of people who have had maybe near-death experiences where their ego just gets completely shattered, all of a sudden their list of priorities changes.
Yeah.
They're not going after this vapid thing. They're going after love and connection and a deepening of the bond and their connection with the earth. And their life just completely shifts from ego to soul.
I think my life is the tension between the two.
Yeah.
Right? I think that there's a tension between how I was taught to sort of operate and this operating system that I'm choosing and creating in moment-to-moment experience. And there's a tension between the two, because I can never say I'm in one or the other. I mean, there's flow moments where I really feel like I'm in my open-heartedness and so forth.
Yeah.
But then I organize back to, how do I win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smart person wants to come in and say, oh, I can strategize here.
Oh, clever boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those
I'm clever girl, for sure.
one of those parts of my personality that, you know, we don't want to leave that guy in the driver's seat for too long.
Yeah.
It's the tricky part about that, just taking the flow state part, right? Or is what we celebrate in ourselves and others gets repeated. Mm-hmm. So the ego goes, oh, I just did something good.
Yeah.
How do I do that again?
Well, and just what you said may be a deep and profound truth, but then we make an ism out of it, like a little. We organize around. Oh, that's my, you know, my new mantra. Like the spiritual principles get crunched down to, how do I win?
How do I do that again?
We're playing law of attraction again.
Exactly. Celebrated again. It's the addiction. So like it's layered times a billion in that sense. So like, back to mastery and chopping wood for the sake of chopping wood and carrying water for the sake of carrying water and washing dishes for the sake. It's can I catch that?
In action.
Yeah. And how many times, because it's just a practice. We're already practicing. I can't stop practicing.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm going to be practicing one way or the other. Either I'm practicing reaction, or I'm practicing trying to win, or I'm in the practice of not identifying with that and going, what do I choose now? Yeah. I'm practicing awareness.
Yeah.
It's this conundrum that it's a catch-22. We're always in it.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
a paradox.
way out. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's not even required that it go away, because in the larger context, it comes along too, right? So part of what we're experiencing, you know, in an organic moment is our inauthenticity. Yeah. Oh, that gets layered into? Of course it does.
Yeah.
You know, so be inauthentic to, this is going to sound like a tongue twister, or to disidentify with our inauthenticity, you know? Like, no, that's that too, you know?
Yeah. It really is, though. It's really about a constant dance, right? Nobody's perfect. And we go back to this thing we were talking about in relationships.
Or we're all perfect.
In our imperfections.
Totally.
That's it. We are all perfect in our imperfections. And once we own up to that, like, that's so much more beautiful than saying, well, I've got it all figured out.
Right.
You know, like, nobody likes that guy.
Nobody likes that guy.
You know, and so many of us are trying to be that guy when we know that we don't like that person.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's the formula piece that it gets,
exactly.
Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I see it, one of the things where I get triggered the most is in the whole marketing of product, right?
Yeah,
and we all have product and the stuff we need to do to make a living, but where it just gets so, what is the word? Phony? I don't know, I want a really simple word. Oh man, now that's phony. At this point, it's like, that's just phony.
People become numbers.
Well, that's where it gets really aberrant, is where we're objectifying everybody.
That's it. Yeah. It's horrible.
And what triggers me is the triggering of that for the spiritual world or the personal development world, and not for the basketball world or the iPhone world or the strippers world or the pastor's world. Like, it's this space, the personal development space. You're never supposed to play that way. And like, I get it. The ego gets it. And then I'm also like, well, how do we judge them for doing what's working for the iPhone companies, the Nissan company that sold me my Nissan Xterra.
Yeah, we're okay to pay for that.
And girls are around, or the beer commercial is okay, and this is not.
Well, but so I love when a company breaks through and has an authentic identity, right? I mean, we got here technologically because there was something in Apple, or there was something in some of these organic companies, the Ubers that have come out in the world, where people have come up with really good ideas that everyone can get behind it. It's authentic and hasn't been cheesified, hasn't been corporatized, and made into a system, mechanized, because it is the mechanized, it is the mindset of separation and control that feels so,
But do you really think that Apple doesn't have that?
No, I know it does.
They do. But
the spirit of it is carried through.
Yeah, the spirit is, but it's still a game. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, all big corporations are going, how can we reach millennials? Okay, well, we need to do authentic things online.
Yeah.
And now they're playing the game called How Do We Be Authentic?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I like it though. It's
a better game.
It is a better game.
Still a game. Still objectification.
It's still a game. But look, the thing about the game of authentic is you will always get caught being inauthentic, and then you got to go back and go, whoa. So, the aspiration to be authentic is a higher order than, just accepting that, sex sells, so let's just push more of that. Come on.
And some companies
lowest common denominator?
Yeah, but some companies do that, and it is authentic because you just get that they're like, hey, we get that sex sells, and we're going to sell it. And they're so in your face about it that I actually appreciate it, because I'm like, cool, they're not trying to pretend that there's something.
Yeah, the Dove came out with that really beautiful body image thing.
I love that, yeah.
But the same company that owns Dove owns Axe Body Wash.
For sure.
And you go, so what just happened there,
They went, everybody's fat, let's figure out a way to
speak to
get fat people's money. And I know that's harsh. Some of you guys may be attacking me right now, but that's, if we would just strip it down, and I have.
Well, what's good and beautiful and true is that the body image that we have idealized is not a healthy body image. You look at 2,000 years of art. You go to the museum, you see women's bodies, and they don't look like that, right? So women's bodies aren't supposed to look like the rail thin runway model. Yeah. Some 3% of the population have that body type, and so that is what their body is supposed to look like. But it's 3% of the population. The other 97 doesn't look like that.
Exactly.
So the idea that Dove is saying, love your body, this is what a natural woman's body looks like, is nice. And I think it.
No, Preston is so triggered.
No, it's not.
But there's two sides to that coin. Because
they say McDonald's is going to keep doing what they're doing, so screw it. Let's make money off of America being the most obese place in the world. Let's do that.
But it's a fine line. It's a fine line. I'm coming from the modeling industry, right? I modeled for years, and I was a size 6. A size 8 starts plus size modeling.
I know, it's crazy.
I think I'm pretty thin. I think I look pretty good. I'm a size 6, and one size up is plus size. So there's a very thin line here. Now, am I saying it's okay to say, I love my curves and I eat like crap every day? No, that's not okay, because you don't love your body.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what they're selling.
But what Preston's talking about is we're kind of glorifying now this like round, curvy, beautiful thing that's gotten to by horrible ways. By eating McDonald's, by
gigantic,
drinking soda.
Don't care. We'll just make bigger panties for you.
Right.
And then you...
but if you could love your body...
I'm being attacked right now on the inside.
But if you could love your body, if you could treat your body well, if you can eat well, but you're still Rubenesque and curvy, great. Own it. Beautiful.
Africa,
African women, that's a perfect example.
Yes.
They eat healthy, they eat from the land, and some of them are curvy, some of them are thin, but they own it.
I'm all for curves. I'm all for naps. I used to think this was bad hair. I used to say my friends have good hair and I have bad hair.
Right.
I'm all for that. But let's not glorify this company that's also killing monkeys to try to figure out, if their lotion works on people. Dude, they are money hungry, just as money hungry as any other company out there. Right. They just are aligning with it.
No, I'm with you. I was just liking the campaign as an attempt to be authentic, right?
Yeah.
That seems like a higher bar.
Yeah.
And I get the inherent manipulation. It's like we've talked in the past about spiritual ego, or spiritual arrogance even, where it's like, again, law of attraction. We take a spiritual law and we go, great, now I can get a bigger car.
Yeah. I can work with this. Why do you think The Secret did so well? Everyone's like, I wrote a check for myself for $1 million.
Be careful, there's a lot of friends of ours that are on there.
I know, listen, I love The Secret. I love The Secret, but why it did so well is because the mainstream bought into this idea of a quick fix.
That's it.
That's it.
It's called A Secret.
Yeah, and
don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anyone, but let's tell everyone.
This is amazing. You guys are great. I'm loving this.
But you know what? At the same token, we can talk about what all these companies are doing, and they're manipulating us and objectifying. We are so buying into it.
Yeah. No, take ownership.
Yeah, we are. I am a convenience girl. I will buy into convenience all day. Listen, I drive my Prius, but I buy into convenience in so many other ways. So we all get to take personal responsibility. Yes. We are allowing them to sell to us like this because we are sheep in a sense.
Yeah, we haven't figured out what to do with the Prius battery yet. So I mean, look, there always is this way. We hit the wall where we're like, we're back again. So look, I'm going to do a big rounding up of how do we want to be with our shadow when it gets expressed. Yeah. And, again, the both and, that the part of me that's organized around winning comes along too. And the part of me that has these, sort of breakthrough moments of connection. And that's what I really want. And there's a sense of what's deeper in my life. They're both existing.
Yeah.
I live in the tension between the two. I don't know. I got to figure out a way to market this. Okay, how do we do it in a way that has integrity? I don't know. But then I look at it and go, I don't like that. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Go back to the feel good, because that actually is a great criteria.
Awareness. Yeah.
But
awareness.
no, just the at that level, right? It's not my thinking mind, because that'll betray me sometimes. Yeah. Can I connect to a felt sense of does this feel good?
Right. Does it resonate? And I think what it is, it's radical self-acceptance, like you're saying, take it all with you, but also be willing to be responsible for it all. Totally,
because the radical self-acceptance at some points becomes a cop-out.
Yeah.
I'm accepting that.
Yeah. It is the way it is. It's like, no. The other part of that is responsibility.
Totally. Otherwise, it becomes shadow play.
Yeah.
I'm accepting that just baby squirrels have to die. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I accept that.
I accept that. I don't know what kind of squirrels.
Yeah.
All right, what's up in your guys' life? What's going on with the Love Mob? What's going on with the book? What's going on with the next book? What's going on with the world travelers? And
we got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
First and foremost.
So I'll let you cherry pick. Talk about anything you want.
The bridge method.
No, the bridge method. Let's talk about that.
And why I bring that up is because it feels good to create a online training program that has it's been cared for by us.
Beautiful.
So we created a 12-week online training program that is designed to support people in being with what they're being with. not designed to have them the quick fix and get them all high. And it's very funny and fun, and we put people out in the world and have them do exercises and things just to see who they're being.
Yeah, try it on.
Yeah, so, which is really awesome. So that's one of the things.
Well, you guys are pretty good tour guides. So if I was to choose because again, personal growth processes are out there. There's a gazillion of them, but I think you choose the people you resonate with, and who's the tour guide you want to go on the ride with.
Yeah,
I love that.
And that's thebridgemethod.org.
Yeah.
Well, listen, there's
what is it? What's the website? Is it bridgemethod.org?
Yeah, thebridgemethod.org. Yeah, and it really is amazing. We're with you on your whole journey, which is so great. So there's weekly accountability. But what Preston said is a huge component of what we created. It's not just theory. It's not just all these tools that you can read about. It's really about trying it on and putting it into action in your life, which is what puts it into your cells so that you can access it at
learning.
You can access it 5 years from now. Like, oh, right, I remember I have this thing because I tried it on and it felt good.
And I love that you guys are in the process too. So that's the big game is how do we get on a ride with people who we know are doing the work versus, letting the small story part of us that wants a quick fix go by the, whatever you call it, immediacy program, which is going to be junk.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. It's actually 4 cents. And we are done for today.
No, go to PrestonsMiles.com, go to AlexiPanos.com. We love you. Sex, sell.
Well
Paradox.
Exactly.
All right. And you can get all this, of course, at the Cutting Edge Consciousness website. Thanks for tuning in.
That in.
Yes. That's awesome.